Hey, well, got my Jeep done. I know I said in the last video that I was gonna kind of go step by step and show you what I did and how I did it. But to tell you the truth, I ordered a lot of parts real fast and they all started showing up at once. And due to time constraints, I just decided to start building. And like a lot of you, it's like a little kid on Christmas Day. You start opening boxes of parts and you just want to get them on, and before you know it, you're done. So anyway, the good news is I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm at so far and where I plan to go from here. So if you guys can remember from the last video of what this thing looked like, here's what it looks like now. So we went ahead, excuse me, and we put a 3 1/4 inch rough country suspension lift on here and followed that up with Mammoth Boulder simulated beadlock rims on BF Goodrich mud terrains. They're 33 10.5s all the way around, and I went ahead and got the fifth one. And then we'll go here to the back. I got the lift kit, the tires and wheels, and the bumpers, winch, a lot of stuff from Extreme Terrain. Went through Quadratec for a lot more of it, and then just some off-the-shelf stuff. So this bumper, also from Extreme Terrain, it's got the built-in receiver hitch. So it came with the shackles and the tire carrier, and it's got a nice big handle here. It swings all the way open for the most part, as far as you need it to, until the tire hits the side of the Jeep. One thing I did, I had a high lift jack hanging around. I've had it for years. I started looking for mounts for this thing, and I just didn't like a lot of them. After looking at a lot of reviews, they had the ones that mount up on the hood. They have the ones that mount on the side. Every one of them that stood up here on the back bumper, they all attached to this, but with the spare tire carrier, it wouldn't work. Extreme Terrain, they don't have a mount for their tire carrier for a high lift jack, so all I did is I went over here and dug through my metal pile, and I found a piece of 2x3 angle. It's kind of hard to see in there, but all I did was throw my jack up there, find my bolt locations, used a couple carriage bolts. I went ahead and used nylock nuts just to kind of make it more theft deterrent, and then I've got a tool kit so I can always take them off if I need it. I made a spot for a lock, and then I've got the isolator, which as you can tell, it still lets it rattle a lot. One thing I did to keep the rattling down, and I can cut them off when I need, I just put a couple stay straps here and there. I did have a piece of foam and a stay strap on this that held it really tight, but I figured this isolator, the way they talked, it was, I thought it'd be more rubberier than that, and it's not. It's kind of a harder plastic, and so as you can see, there's a lot of slop, but it doesn't really move around a lot. So the other thing I ran into is I went ahead and took the old spare tire carrier off. It's laying down there on the ground. And what happened with that is the third brake light was about here. And as you can see, that would have been about right where the jack was. So I looked around for options, and third brake lights were expensive for just a little bitty light that stood up here. So what I found, I don't know if you can see it, so it's an LED disc. Got that through Quadratec. It was I think $60, $60, $70. So the bumper, it is heavy duty. I mean, it's on there. I've already towed my trailer with the lawnmower and my four-wheeler on it. The Jeep didn't like it that much, but the bumper held up good. I went ahead and found a wiring harness through eTrailer, and then found this nice little holder for the 4-plug deal. So I just screwed it up in there so it keeps it tight, keeps it out of the way. like I told you before, and I can show you now, when I was telling you about the subwoofer box, how to make a nice little compartment back here. This is what I was talking about. So now I'm able to keep a toolkit, you know, a tow shackle, my winch recovery gear, everything, and it fits up in this little cubby hole, because here's the back side of the subwoofer, and it keeps it secure. And you know, it's like anything else. If somebody wanted to get to it, they could, but it locks in here, and I can lock the tailgate, and people can't get to it as easy. Deft deterrent. So, all right. But a lot of people, I'd read reviews on this bumper when I started looking at the Jeep, and they were showing how this assembly here was really rough. Didn't want to move a lot. It would have been nice they would have put a grease zerk in it, but they don't. There's no grooves in there. It's a solid pin. So, you know, all I did was I took and loaded that thing up with anti-seize and just kept working it, pulled it off, added some more anti-seize. So down the road, if it gets stiff, I'll just add more anti-seize. See, and it does, it kind of, you can kind of see the action right there. It cams over and locks in. I do got a carrier. I went ahead and bought a receiver hitch carrier for this thing that folds up. The only restriction on it though was this massive tire. So I just held it up where it needed to be and just drilled a new hole so you can kind of see how it sits on an angle. All right, let's go to the front. When I got my American flag sticker, you got to support the flag. No kneeling in this shop. All right, so we followed this up. We've got some 130 watt KC daylighters, and these are actually the KC light mounts. Now, one thing, if you're planning on doing this, these windshield bracket bolts, there's 3 of them. I'm not lying, those things are a bear. I went ahead and did my research on YouTube. I heard all the horror stories. I seen some methods that I wasn't too fond of getting them off, and some that I thought would have worked. But what I end up doing is, number one, I didn't have an impact screwdriver. You know, we're kind of in rural Kansas. You know, I would have to either order one in or travel to get one. So what I did is I had just one of those little bitty butane torches that you get. It's mine, got from Harbor Freight for under 10 bucks. And what I did with that thing is I went right in the center of that bolt, and I didn't have to heat it up that long. Probably 20-30 seconds. It didn't even discolor the paint, and they popped right out. I took one out, and a lot of people were saying how with these 2 bolts there's a plate in here that the nuts are secured to with tabs, and they'd talked about how once they got the last bolt out, that tab and the nuts fell down into this column, and the only way you can get it out is to fold the windshield down and drill a hole up in there. So excuse me. So what I did, I just took a piece of baling wire and doubled it up and just kind of bent it in there to where I could stick it in the first hole and hold that thing from falling. Good news is that once I did get the second bolt off, mine must have had the pins in to keep it in place, because I didn't have any issues with it. So, but the cable, a lot of people were notching out right in here. There's a nice hole right there, big gap. So I ended up taking this cowl off. I had to anyway to run my XM radio antenna, and this is all open in here. So it was no problem running wires to do this. So when I actually found a hole in the heater controls for my XM antenna to go in, and then I'll show you the wiring here, you know, in a minute. But coming up front, I went ahead and got the blacked out bezels. You know, I mean, I'm just really liking the look of being blacked out on this thing. Followed that up with the KC headlights, and those are a huge step over the stock. And then front bumper, also from Extreme Terrain. And then this is a Smitty built winch. I'll go ahead and take it off, the cover off here real quick, and show you that. All right, so there is the Smittybilt X2O 10,000 pound winch with synthetic line. This bumper, as you can see, it had the LED lights already in it. They're bright. You're not going to see down the highway a long ways, but I think they might be a little bit too bright for running light, especially since I'm up a little bit. But I'm not worried about extra light because I got these big 6x9 KC daylighters stuck up front. So with 6 big KC lights up front, you can see. And then I just yesterday I put my Oscar Mike hood decal on. We'll go ahead and go inside and show you some stuff in here. I went ahead and I wanted seat covers and I wanted neoprene, so I found these Rough Country. These things were half the price of everybody else. They were $129, free shipping, and I don't have anything bad to say about them. They're nice, excellent fit, easy to install. You know, they're great. And I got for the front and back. Changed all my lights to LED. I went ahead and put clear in there. It's kind of hard to see, but I put blue underneath the dash, and then when I get on the other side, I'll turn the lights on. I turned all the dash lights to blue. KC speakers, I'm sorry, Kicker speakers all the way around, even with the 8-inch sub here. This is kind of the neat feature I was telling you. The Kenwood deck unit, this is a lockbox from Quadratec. So what I got is I've got this big metal cover, and it just fits over there, and it key locks. So if you got the top off, you put that down and nobody can steal your stereo, or at least not easily. Going down here, this was a factory drive light switch. I went ahead and found a company out of California that made the exact same switch, but they've got tons of different labels. So I found KC highlights and put those on. And then Tuffy, kind of hard to see, but I went and got their metal security box. It's supposed to be pry proof, bigger lock. It's nice. I think it's going to do the job. So we'll go over this way, guys. Also from Extreme Terrain, I got a billet locking gas cap cover. And then here we go with the lights. So there's the dash lights. Everything's in the blue. Got Quadratec floor mats. There again, you know, I looked around. WeatherTech floor mats. The neat thing about WeatherTech is they used to be made right here in my hometown until McNeely, the people who actually make them, took all their molds away from our local industry and took them to Chicago. So, but they were extremely expensive, and I even looked at Best Top. They make a set, and they were actually looked just like these Quadratechs, and they were $125, $30 cheaper than the Best Buy. So, I mean the Best Top. So Quadratec, it's the way to go. They are durable. The only thing I did do different is in the kit, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little locking pin right here. You can cut your carpet and stick a little thing in here. I just got a couple snaps, put the snaps in. They hold a lot better. Oh, I forgot one thing. Grab bars. These things are nice. I went with a set. I don't know if you can see them back over there, the little Velcro handle deals, and they went right here, and you know, your hand was down here. They didn't give you any support. These things, worth the money. You know, they're about $90, but I highly recommend them. I'm a bigger boy, and it makes getting in and out of this Jeep really nice. So let me get this hood up, and we're going to go over some wiring. Okay, one thing I'm all about is keeping stuff nice and neat when it comes to wiring. You know, that's what I do every day, is I wire boats. So, you know, a customer doesn't want to see crappy wiring run over the place, and I don't want to see it either. So as you can see, these are all my wires for my winch. I went ahead and put them in extra loom. Got them all running out. Excuse the leaves, it is fall. You know, everything's nice and neat, zip tied together. Same with the KCs, old Deutsch connectors. I had to drill my own holes in the bar. Wire loom all runs down through there, up around. Everything just keep it in loom. Take your time, guys. It's not rocket science. Good thing about KC wiring harnesses now is they've got these little fuse links and they lock together. The only thing I wish they would do is make a little deal to where, you know, you could mount them like these relays. There again, everything is ran nice and neat. Let me go ahead and get this hood out of the way. One good thing about a Jeep, guys, I love the way you can just get this hood completely out of your way. All right, so you can't hardly even tell where I ran my wiring. This piece of loom right here goes up and down right through the firewall, right up behind where my switches are at. This one was a little trickier. The light harness that comes out of this cowl, what I end up doing is just making a slice in this and a slice across here, tuck my wires in here. This never comes in contact with that. It's up high enough. You can see there's no rubbing, no chafing, nothing. So it kept it good, kept the wires all the way down nice and clean. I did install these military type battery connectors. So then it was able to where I could put my winch on one side and you can still run a lot of accessories without having to add extra things, you know, for grounding blocks and all. And they're really easy to install, guys. I mean, I'm a good do-it-yourselfer, light mechanic work. You just got to cut the ends off, strip the wire back. Same deal, that little butane torch I was telling you about earlier, I used it. You heat some solder up and just melt it into the little crimp eye, and then just shove your cable in and hold it for a few seconds till the solder sets up. That's it. Okay, so I know a lot of people don't like them, but K&N filter, you know, I've always used them. I'm not in a big dusty, sandy, crappy part of the country, so filtration isn't that huge of a deal. I did go ahead and I'm running a K&N oil filter just because, you know, I want to make sure. I don't know the maintenance history on this. I know, you know, what my in-laws did. I know the other guy had it for years. By the looks of it, he did take care of it, but it's just insurance. I went ahead and put an Air-Aid throttle body spacer on. You know, you can tell a little bit. You know, really, the main reason I did that is the old Ford pickup. You know, I was having a lot of trouble with my Edelbrock carburetor on that. When you'd stop when it was hot and shut it off, go back to get it in, you know, kind of vapor lock deal. I put the 1-inch spacer under it and it made a huge difference. So, but anyway, guys, in a nutshell, the lift kit was the hardest thing I did, and I didn't do it all myself. I've got a friend at work. He's got a lift in his shop, does mechanic work on the side, really nice guy. So I shot him some money, went over and helped him, and you know, we got it put on in his shop, and it's all right. It's not terrible to put on, but it's not a walk in the park either. You know, I don't think I'd want to try to tackle that thing in my garage on jack stands. A lot of guys do. It was really nice having the lift. The ride of the lift kit, it's great. I mean, it's nice and smooth. I don't get a lot of rocking and swaying like I did before. But this is a Jeep. I'm still trying to get used to this thing on the highway because it just always makes it feel like your butt's wiggling. You know, the steering is real sensitive, and but I enjoy it. I really like the Jeep. You know, I'm looking forward to having this thing for many, many years. So anyway, we'll keep you up to date. I know I'm going to go out here in a little bit. My brother finally got the pond put in, and we got about 3 inches of rain last night. So I'm going to go out there and check that out and maybe take a video of that. Got the four-wheeler going back to the shop tomorrow to get some a couple recalls done on it. So hopefully we'll be back and running with that. It's starting to cool down. Got a lot of work to do out the farm, get the trails back up and running, and we'll start making some videos on that. So until then, guys, if you got any questions, leave them in the old comment bar, and you guys have a blessed day. Give me the big thumbs up and subscribe.